Magandang araw sa ating lahat po. Nandito po si Nico Fabian once again dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Today is Tuesday, March 4 na po. And of course, hope everybody is starting the Tuesday, beautiful Tuesday morning in a very good mood po. And welcome sa atin or welcome sa inyo po dito sa programa ko Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today may topic, ang topic natin po is tungkol sa election pa rin dyan sa Pilipinas. And very specific po, no? Very specific. Pwede ba madaya ang midterm election scheduled on May 12 this year? Ibig sabihin, madaya, ibig sabihin, pwede ba gamitin ang automated election machine to cheat sa election? Ito po ang sabihin natin ang topic natin ngayon. But anyway, before we touch on this very important issue, let me show you a video muna po regarding itong third day na yata, no? Third day na tayo sa Ramadan po asa sa mga brothers and sisters natin embracing ang sabihin natin ang Islam faith. And of course, dito sa Kota Kinabalu or dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah East Malaysia and very specific dito sa sabihin natin Kota Kinabalu City, parehas din po ang mga brothers and sisters natin sa Islam faith, ang mga Muslims, no? Now they sabihin natin observing itong 30 days fasting month ng Ramadan. And yesterday, I made some visitation in some areas dito po sa Kota Kinabalu, particularly dito sa Luyang, and very specific dito malapit sa Bukit Padang po, no? And I took a video clipping just to show you kung paano ang sabihin natin ang Ramadan Bazaar natin dito sa Kota Kinabalu. Ang daming mga tao po as early as 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. I went and visited this Ramadan Bazaar dito sa may Bukit Padang, and as always, ganun talaga pa ang sitwasyon. Ang mga brothers and sisters natin who are fasting from, they will eat before sunrise, and they will eat again after sunset. No? So as early as 3 o'clock, ang dami na po mga tao, they go down to this Ramadan Bazaar and buy their food for the Buka Puasa. And nandito po ang sabihin natin ang footage that I managed to record dito po sa Bukit Padang. This is the situation po sa Bukit Padang. Malapit sa Bukit Padang. So, this is one Ramadan Bazaar na mayroon tayo dito sa Luyang, malapit sa Bukit Padang. Kita natin po ang mga tao going to this Ramadan Bazaar to buy their food in preparation for the Buka Puasa. Ang daming mga pagkain dyan po. A lot of different kinds of food that you can buy. And of course, sabihin natin in a cheaper price. No? Ganito po, this is how ang people in Sabah or in Kota Kinabalu, no? Prepare for the Buka Puasa every day for 20 days ito po. Different kinds of food. Ay mga drinks din. And of course, ang daming tao po. After buying their food, then they will wait for the Buka Puasa time. Migo rin, dami, may mga isda, grilled isda, ihaw na isda, may mga you see, it's cheap. And it's nice to go and visit itong mga Ramadan Bazaar natin po. Mga ihaw, fish.
Ya, singa-singa kan? Saya pada saat dia ada buntut, berada singa-singa.
Chicken, mayroon din. And this will go on for 30 days po. Yan po, this is how it looks like, no? Ang Ramadan bazaar natin dito sa Kota Kinabalu. And not only in Bukit Padang or in Luyang area po, in the town area sa Kota Kinabalu po, you can see also a space there na mayroon din tayo mga Ramadan Bazaar. So this is to give an opportunity for the people who are fasting, ang mga brothers and sisters natin po sa Islam, to buy their food, to prepare and buy their food for the daily buka puasa. Reminder na po, no? I just want to remind each and every one of us, especially itong mga, sabihin natin, non-believers of Islam. Let us cooperate with our brothers and sisters, Muslims, during their fasting month po, no? During their fasting month, let us cooperate with them and let's help make this fasting month sa kanila a very memorable and solemn one po. And a solemn one. After 30 days, then they will be celebrating ang Hari Raya Idul Fitri, and that will be next month. Okay, for the Christians community, I just want to remind that tomorrow, mag-start din ang Lent period or Lenten season ng mga Kristiyano. In other words, we are going to start our own puasa po. No? Ang mga Kristiyano will start ang puasa for 40 days. Now, they will kick off ang Lenten season with Ash Wednesday. Ibig sabihin, Ash Wednesday, we have the two, sabihin natin, it is a day of religion, going to Mass, no? Religious day ito po, wherein ang mga Kristiyano must attend the Mass to start ang Lenten season natin po. And it will last for 40 days. Ash Wednesdays and different churches in Sabah, no, will be celebrating Eucharistic celebration or masses po, no, from early in the morning 6 o'clock hanggang the whole day hanggang gabi ito po, no, may mga schedule masses, no, for the believers, faithfuls to attend and get their, you know, it has been a tradition that we will be reminded from us we come and as we have to go back. So mayroon tayo dito po, the priest will be putting up a you know, ashes sa atin sa forehead natin po, just to remind us that we came from ash and we shall return from ash. So don't forget, Ash Wednesday po, start ng Lenten season. Lenten season ng mga Kristiyano is starting tomorrow. Alright, let's move on. Shoutout muna tayo kay Marilo Pentojo, is also watching my program today. Good morning to you and hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay ni Marilo Pentojo. And of course, all those who are watching my program this morning. Today is Tuesday. What a beautiful Tuesday po. Okay, let's move on. Another reminder pala, no? I just want to remind ang mga kababayan natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, ingat-ingat lang kayo. Take good care of yourself and make sure that you will not be dehydrated. No? Dahil po ang Pilipinas is facing another problem po when it comes to weather condition. I was made to understand and it was announced in the media, local media dyan po sa Pilipinas, that classes has been suspended in the many areas in the Philippines dahil po may problema sila ang heat index. No? Expected that it will be a hot day dyan sa Pilipinas po today and the coming days to come. 1 or 2 more days or 2 to 3 more days they are going to face itong problema ng init dyan sa Pilipinas. In the meantime, I will share with you this clipping as a reminder po about ang problema dyan sa Pilipinas when it comes to heat index. Nandito po ang report. You listen to this.
Scattered rains and thunderstorm.
Hold on, ha? Nandito po.
Not only in Metro Manila but different parts of the country because of the easterlies. The Northeast monsoon, as we monitor this recently ay become weekends, and expect this easterlies weather system will continue to affect the whole country for the next 2 to 3 days. Aside from warm weather here in our country, expect scattered rains and thunderstorm over Bicol region, Quezon, Eastern Visayas, Davao Oriental, and also over Laguna and Rizal. Meanwhile, the rest of the country will have partly cloudy to cloudy skies, but expect isolated rain showers due to thunderstorm. As of this moment, there's no low pressure area or tropical cyclone over Pacific Ocean, especially inside the Philippine area of responsibility. That's
Okay, mainit ang Pilipinas po. Don't forget to bring umbrellas or maybe topi or hot po, no? To cover yourself and make sure that you don't get dehydrated. Inom ng tubig po, no? Inom ng tubig para hindi kayo mag-heat stroke po. Mahirap na kung mag-heat stroke tayo. So, ganun po ang sitwasyon sa Pilipinas. And be careful lang po, unpredictable ang weather dyan sa Pilipinas dahil po of this climate change, no? Climate change in the morning. There are some areas in the Philippines I was made to understand. Dyan sa Zamboanga, yesterday, early in the morning, heavy rain sila po. But after 1 or 2 hours, bigla na lang lumabas ang araw po, and they were complaining, ang mga residents were complaining na mainit ang Zamboanga. And hindi lang sa Zamboanga, sa mga iba-iba pang lugar dyan sa Pilipinas. Kaya nga, ingat. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you drink water. Don't get dehydrated po. So, to avoid from falling victim ito sa heat stroke. Especially mga may sakit, especially ito mga senior citizens, make sure that you are properly protected when you go out from your homes or houses po. So, yun po. Yun ang sitwasyon. And of course, dito din sa Sabah, we are also experiencing the same scenario po, no? Mainit din ang Sabah, and sometimes you're surprised. Morning, okay na okay ang weather natin, mainit, and all of a sudden in the afternoon it will change, no? May ulan. May ulan tayo dito po. Almost every day ganito ang sitwasyon natin dahil sa climate change. To all my brothers and sisters here in Malaysia, particularly in Sabah, same thing na. Make sure that we don't get dehydrated once we are out from our homes. So, ingat-ingat lang tayo po. Okay, let's move on to our main topic today. And this time around, let me share with you itong video clip that I have prepared for all of you regarding pwede ba madaya ang midterm election come May 12. May 12 po. I will share with you itong statement, explanation. This attorney Harold Respicio, expert din ito po sa computer, sa IT. And yeah, I was made to understand he is facing a disqualification case kasi he's one of the candidates for a vice mayor position po dyan sa Pilipinas. And because of his posting the other day regarding the possibility of this automated machines, election machines po, pwede din i-hack and cheat during the election po. So, parang nag-file data ang COMELEC complaint against him about his posting. Anyway, let's listen to this, and this is our main topic today po. Let's listen to his explanation, si Attorney Harold Respicio. Nandito po. Siguro I will give you a full screen. Medyo mahaba kunti po, but I think, it's also good that we play this thing para aware po ang mga tao po, no? What is happening since this is related sa election natin po doon sa, dyan po sa Pilipinas. Let's listen to his explanation. You hold on. IT expert ito po, no? And kayo rin na maghusga whether you want to believe him or not, kayo nang bahala po. Nandito.
Ay isa rin akong IT expert kasi bago ako naging abogado ay isa akong CPA. Nagtrabaho ako sa Deloitte, ang #1 auditing firm sa buong mundo, at ang expertise ko was information systems audit. Kaya alam ko ang lahat ng mga bagay na yan. Marunong akong mag-code at marunong akong mag-hack. Ang trabaho ko before was tignan yung mga kahinaan ng mga computer systems at sasabihin ko, hoy, pwedeng i-hack ito, baka gusto mong ayusin. Actually, dun sa video na yun, sinabi ko lang na, hoy, Comelec, merong kahinaan itong automated counting machines, baka gusto ninyong ayusin. So, Attorney Harold Respicio, ano ba yung sinasabi mong kahinaan doon sa video na yun? Ang sinabi ko was, sabi ko, kapag connected yung ACM sa internet bago mag-print ng election return, pwedeng ma-hack yung makina at madaya ang eleksyon. Wow, Attorney Harold Respicio, please explain. Ano ba ang proseso ng pagboboto gamit ang automated counting machine? So ito po yung proseso. Ayon sa rules na inilabas ng COMELEC, yung automated counting machines ay nasa presinto on the day of elections. Yung automated counting machine na yon ay connected sa internet the whole day. At kapag boboto ka, ilalagay mo yung boto mo doon at bibilangin ng makina lahat ng boto. Pero yung pagbilang ng makina, para siyang nag-i-score ng basketball. Habang bumoboto ang mga tao, merong running score. Pero hindi katulad ng basketball, yung score doon sa loob ng voting machine na yon, hindi mo nakikita. Walang nakakakita. At makikita lamang yung final score pagkatapos na ng pagboto, patapos ang alas 7 ng gabi on election day. At lalabas yung information na yon sa pamamagitan ng pagprint ng election return. Tapos, yung makina, ipapadala niya yung result sa servers ng COMELEC at yun yung official na returns ng election. Ang concern ko was, kapag konektado sa internet yung makina bago mag-print ng election return at corrupted yung source code ng makina, pwedeng ma-hack ng isang hacker yung makina at dadayain yung lalabas na final score doon sa election returns at madadaya yung resulta ng eleksyon. Yun po ang puntos ko doon sa video na iyon. So, Attorney Harold Respicio, bakit pwede bang mabago yung source code ng isang makina? Well, ang binanggit ko doon sa video was, pwede on principle basta may physical access ka sa makina. Bilang eksperto sa IT, ikaw din, kapag bumibili ka ng gadget mo doon sa Green Hills, di ba? Kapag nakaw yung cellphone na yon or nakaw yung laptop, pagdadalhin mo doon, babaguhin na nila yung source code ng computer na yon kahit may password pa yung device na yon. Kasi ang basic principle ng information system security is basta may physical access sa device, ang isang masamang tao at gusto niyang baguhin yung source code ng makina na yon, pwede mong mabago yung source code ng makina na yon. So on principle, ang mga makina ng pagboto, basta merong access ang tao dyan, pwedeng mabago yung source code. Ngayon, ang diniscuss ko doon sa video was, o sige, sinesecure nga ng COMELEC lahat ng makina na iyon. Actually, meron bang opening, ang sinabi ko sa video is, meron bang opening or instance na baka hindi nakatingin yung gwardiya na merong bad actor doon at baguhin niya yung source code? Kayo na lang ang humusga, di ba? So, mahirap iwasan yun kasi kahit gaano ka pa ka-stricto sa pagbantay ng makina, kahit konting sandali lamang na merong access ang masamang tao doon sa makina, halimbawa, galing sa loob ng gobyerno, kung gusto nilang dayain yung eleksyon, pwede nilang dayain yung eleksyon. Yun yung binanggit ko doon sa video na iyon. Ngayon, hindi mo maiiwasan yung bagay na iyon. Kaya ang alternatibo mong solusyon dyan ay kapag nagtanim sila ng masamang code, source code doon sa makina at may opening sa hacker, pwedeng i-hack. Dapat ang gawin mo, during election day, huwag mo siyang i-connect sa internet. Kasi kahit corrupted yung source code doon, kahit ano pa ang gawin ng hacker, hindi niya ma-access yung device. Therefore, hindi niya mababago yung score. And kapag hindi niya nabago yung score, ang lalabas na score ay yung tamang score sa makina at walang magagawa yung makina. Once i-connect mo na siya sa internet later at ipadala mo yung results sa server ng Comelec, hindi mahirap nang dayahin yun kasi may kopya na lahat ng watcher ng totoong resulta ng eleksyon. Yun yung binabanggit ko na pwedeng opening doon sa video na iyon. Doon sa video na iyon, naging detailed ako sa pag-discuss ng teorya ng computer securities at paano i-take advantage yung kahinaan na yun doon sa sistema ng automated counting machine. So nag-code ako doon, dinemo ko kung paano mo talaga siya gagawin code by code, line by line at ginamit ko itong laptop ko para i-demo in actuality paano siya gagawin. Para pag nakita ng Comelec yung video na yun, oo nga no, o kaya nakita ng taong bayan yung video na yun, sasabihin nila, oo nga no, convincing yung explanation ni Harold. Pwede ngang mangyari. Ayusin nga natin to. Actually, yun yung purpose ng video na yun eh. Yun yung hope ko na sana maayos ng Comelec yung rules nila. Kasi, ang simple lang siyang pwedeng ayusin. Walang mawawala sa atin. Ang gagawin lang ng Comelec is babaguhin niya lang yung rules niya kung paano natin i-handle yung ACM machines during election day. Kasi right now, may lunabas na rules ang ACM kung paano i-operate yung voting machine na yun on election day. At kapag babasahin mo yung rules, connected na siya sa internet on the whole day. And walang instruction dun na dapat hindi siya connected sa internet or dapat i-connect mo lang siya sa internet after mag-print ng election returns. Ang recommendation ko was, bilang eksperto, ay magdagdag ka lang ng isang linya dun sa rules mo, Comelec, at sabihin mo dun na huwag mong i-connect sa internet habang nagbobotohan at habang nagpiprint ka ng election return. At i-connect mo lang sa internet pag magsisend na ng data papunta sa server ng Comelec. May masama ba dun?
Alright, yun po ang explanation ni Attorney Harold Respicio po tungkol pwede ba madaya ang automation na election machine during the midterm election po. No? And let's see po, no? Let's see ang what will happen po. Of course, lahat ng mga tao, no? Mga botante, mga Filipinos po, be it in the Philippines or overseas Filipinos po, no? We don't want that our vote will be cheated or the election will be smeared with fraud or may cheating po, no? Kasi this is our right. This is the time wherein we will choose our leaders po. And dapat lang po lahat ang boses ng mga botante will be properly heard, no? Will be properly heard and wala itong mga kalokohan ang mga cheating po sa election. And we also I think everybody knows that every time there is an election na dyan sa Pilipinas po, may mga complaints talaga tungkol sa cheating. Last election, 2025, 2022, 19, at saka 16, and so forth, and so on. No? Yun po, what we experience. And this time, we hope that come May 12, wala na itong problema ng cheating. Some were saying, manual na lang magawa ng para make sure na tayo clean ang election natin. So let's see. But mga kaibigan ko, mga viewers ko, anong sagot na naman ng sabihin natin ng Comelec tungkol itong issue? Nandito po si Comelec Chairman George Garcia explaining tungkol sa issue po. Let's listen to George Garcia po. To George Garcia. Hold on, Let's listen to Chairman George Garcia. Hold on.
Kung saan pumupunta ang Comelec na nag-demo ng buong bansa mula December 3 hanggang January 30. Nakita niyo ba nakakabit siya sa kahit na anong internet connection? Di ba nakakabit lang siya sa kuryente na minsan tinatanggal pa kahit tanggalin ang kuryente? Di ba gumagana? Sinasabi na siya ay nakakabit sa internet mula sa umaga hanggang sa gabi. Yan po ay hindi makatotohanan. Wala pong katotohanan yan. Yan po ay fake news. mali po yan. Wala pong pinagkakapitan yung makina. Mula umaga hanggang sa gabi. Kung hindi, siya po'y kakapitan lang ng USB. Kapag ka nakapag-imprenta na ng election returns na siyam, at yung isa doon sa siyam ay ipapaskil na sa loob sa mismong labas ng presinto.
Alright, yan po ang statement ni COMELEC Chairman George Garcia. And sabi ni Attorney Harold Respicio, ang recommendation niya is sa rules ng COMELEC include isang linya dyan po na do not connect it. Hopefully, ang COMELEC will also listen to the recommendation. After all, we will lose nothing. Huh? COMELEC will lose nothing if they will include this. Kasi precaution lang yan po. Precaution lang yan po. Alright? So, okay, let's move on na itong issue natin tungkol sa pwede ba madaya ang midterm election by using itong automation election machines natin po, no? Scheduled to be used sa May 12 election. Okay. Nandito ang grupo ng partido ng PDP Laban, no? They are talking about itong possibility of cheating sa election. Let's listen to this sabihin nating recorded natin po explanations or forum ba ito, discussions carried out by some bloggers and of course si Attorney Harry Roque and si Attorney Glenn Chong po regarding itong issue. Okay, let me share with you itong clippings, video clip po. Let's listen to this. Saan na yun? Hold on. Nandito po. Full screen din tayo po, na? Para klaro, mas disente. Okay. And then, kayo na bahala po maghusga. Whether totoo ba what they are saying, ang discussion nila or hindi, kayo nang bahala po. What is important is you get ang mga latest updates po regarding itong issue. Nandito po.
Online cheating siya, kumbaga. Teka muna, bago sagutin ni Atty. Glenn Chong, is that constitutional, yung new mode of voting nila na ginawa nilang online na sila yung nagdesisyon? Hindi ba dapat dumaan yan sa legislation, mga ganyan? Attorney,
natin natignan ng batas dyan, no? Pero ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema dun sa kaso namin, no? Na talagang ang merong jurisdiction dyan sa saligang batas sa pagka-uhod ng mga eleksyon ay COMELEC. Kaya they bow to the wisdom of COMELEC, no? Yung mga winawari namin na electronic cheating, sabi nila may mga safeguards and we trust the COMELEC will actually put in place all these safeguards, no? So kumbaga, nagkaroon ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema dun sa 2010 decision na naging basihan para matuloy ang automated elections na bigyan naman natin ng tiwala ang COMELEC.
In the first place, Attorney Harry, that's a very naive and myopic na paningin sa COMELEC. It's like saying that all the people in the COMELEC are saints. Which is that? Di ba?
Yeah.
So, doon muna tayo sa online voting. I always assume two things. First is that if it's automated, it can always be manipulated. Kasi the reason why we call it automation is that these are routinary tasks that we automate. So, kumbaga we give the machine instructions, this is what you're going to do. Diba? Kasi routinary yan eh. Routinary yan. Pagbilang ng boto, pagpasa ng sinong binoto. Diba? Routinary yan. Pagpasa ng binoto, pagbilang ng boto, these are routinary tasks. That's why we automate because it can be done with a set of instructions. However, if you manipulate it, bawat gamot, pagpaganda at serbisyo, you have a different result. So, ganun din yung tingin ko. And, compounding the problem is that you have devils in the pinamumugaran ng demonyo ang COMELEC eh. Pinamumugaran talaga ng demonyo. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, nasa ibungan sila ng barangay 666, literally speaking. So, kung online voting, mas lalo akong walang tiwala. Especially kung mali pa na lang. Ito, hindi ko pa actually pinag-aralan yan. Kung yung mga boboto sa online voting, you have to make sure that you have a voter receipt. Yun yung mahalaga. Unang-una talaga yun, dapat meron kayong voter receipt that you can actually verify on your own kung tama ba, ito nga ba talaga yung binoto ko. Because the moment hindi siya tama, then you can probably, sabihin natin, mag-set up tayo ng support center to collate all the, like for example, dito sa Kinakuya Ben, may Isog International, pwede naman sila mag-set up ng support center nila. O dito kayo mag-report pag merong discrepancy doon sa resibo ninyo. That's the first step. The other one is, pwede natin i-collate. Anyway, digital din naman ang voter receipt ninyo, di ba? Hindi naman pwede. Online voting ka, tapos yung resibo mo, i-mail sa iyo ng embahada o konsulado. So, I assume, pag binoto mo online din yung resibo mo. Digital. We can set up support groups like within a country. O dito, i-report nyo lahat, ipadala nyo. Anyway, that's only digital. And then we tally them. And then tingnan natin yung resulta na nilabas ng embahada. Kung tama ba. That's one way to forestall. Kasi pag alam nilang gagawin natin yan, magdadalawang isip din yan because they want to risk na malaman natin, mahuli na natin big time. So that's one way. Basta ang sa akin, online voting is prone to manipulation. Especially because ang provider mismo is the cheater. Yung nagpapatakbo ng eleksyon mismo, ang mandaraya mismo. So, let's assume the worst. So gagawin natin yun. If I will vote online, I must get my receipt and I must verify kung tama ba. And then kung may discrepancy, i-report ko dun sa support group namin within that country. O para yun ang gagawin natin. Magbayanihan tayo. Country per country tayo. Anyway, hindi naman milyon-milyon eh. Hindi naman milyon-milyon ang boboto eh. And then bilangin natin yung mga resibong pinadala sa atin. But we will set that up. Ayusin natin yan. I'm just giving you the idea for now. I hope, Kuya Ben, that gives you and sa inyo, will give you a sense of, parang at least meron tayong gagawin. At ipapaalam natin yan kay Gimbal sa Girl para alam niya uhulihin natin siya. Uhulihin natin siya. We should not give them that chance to cheat us again and again. Then the next question, ano nga ba yun, Ari?
Yung connect na ba sa internet?
Hindi, may isa pa. Pangatlo yan eh.
Oo nga. Yung pangalawa.
Transmission. Yung kay Junior na hindi
The
pa
cheating is on the transmission daw, Attorney Glenn. Sabi ng isang IT na sa German.
Okay. It is possible. Ang problema kasi dito sa transmission, baka magka-discrepancy kasi tatlo yung servers na tatanggap. Di ba? Tatlo yung servers na tatanggap. Una, yung sa munisipyo, which we call the Municipal Board of Canvassers. Yung pangalawa, yung meron pa nga yung District Board of Canvassers, DBOC, Pasig Pateros, meron sila. So, tapos may COMELEC Central Server, and then yung Transparency Server. Ito yung tatlo na tatanggap ng resulta. MBOC or MO, then COMELEC Central Server, and then Transparency Server. I assume it's the same thing sa Miro as with Smartmatic. So, dati, separate transmission yan. So, si Board of Election Tellers, Electoral Board, ngayon, una, magtatransmit yan sa MBC as one packet, data packet, isang data packet yan. Tapos transmit naman sa COMELEC Central Server, isang data packet. Then, isang data packet naman to the Transparency Server. So, individual yan, tatlo. So, dapat magtugma yan. Kasi kung hindi magtugma, huli-huli ka kagad. Kaya palagi kong sinasabi, kung mandaraya ka in this way, na tatlo, separate transmissions, kagayain mo dun sa source mismo, sa makina mismo, bago mag-transmit. Kasi, magpiprint ang makina ng election return eh. Tapos transmit. So yung sa makina na So mahirap mong gawin yung transmission kung doon ka sa transmission mandadaya. Kasi hindi, kung sa transmission ka mandadaya, nauna na yung election return na print pa sa makina hindi tutugma yun doon sa makina. Yung print niya na election return, yung mahaba papel, kung doon ka sa transmission mandadaya. So dapat the cheating should be in the machine itself. Pag labas ng election return, ayun na yung transmit, cheated return na yun. Cheated result na yun. Pero, kung isang transmission lang, and then i-separate into 3, pwede kang madaya doon. Kasi magtutugma yung tatlo But then again, posibleng hindi magtugma doon sa election return. I think, Kuya Junior, the IT experts you're asking abroad does not know na merong election return ipiprint bago mag-transmit. Yun lang yung ano nila. Kaya ang sinabi nila, transmission at kaya. Because hindi nila alam merong isang election return na piniprint bago yung transmission na dapat magtugma. So kung dito ka sa transmission, mahuhuli ka. Kung dadayain mo, dagdagan mo yung transmission kasi hindi tutugma yung naunang election return na print ang makina. Nauna siya Tapos transmit, kung ito ha, in point of time, ito yung transmission, ito yung election return na print ng makina. Kung dito ka mandadaya, hindi tutugma ito. Nauna to So dapat, ang daya, mauna dito siya, earlier, dito sa makina. Para pag-print nito, at pag-transmit ito, tugma itong 2, 3, 4 na documents.
Para hindi mahuli.
Okay, yun po ang explanation ni Attorney Glenn Chong, no? Attorney Glenn Chong, and you know who is Attorney Glenn Chong, tutok talaga siya po sa mga election fraud, no? Complaints. And ano ba yun internet connection? Let's listen again to Glenn Chong. Itong anong masasabi niya tungkol sa internet connection, itong mga machines, automation machines, no? Let's listen to this. Hold on. Let's listen to this.
I don't
Kung agree ba siya kay Attorney Respicio? Hold on.
to the internet. Pag kinonect mo yung makina to the internet while the voting takes place, no? Pag simula pa lang, and I don't understand why i-connect mo na siya sa internet pag simula pa lang ng voting na wala namang transmission.
Dapat hindi.
Maliban na lang kung gusto mong i-access. Di ba? Maliban na lang kung gusto nyong access yung makina doon sa by remote access. Babaguhin nyo. Ito yung sinasabi ni Respicio, Atty. Harold Respicio. So, the ideal is huwag mong i-connect sa internet ang makina. Because the moment nagbubutuhan tayo, wala namang transmission. And it should be, the more important thing is we have to establish that the machine is unidirectional. It can only transmit, it cannot receive data. Kasi kapag naka-receive yung makina ng data, that becomes a very serious vulnerability. Pwede mong baguhin yung program ng makina.
Tama, kasi everything naka-program
Dapat unidirectional lang siya. Isang direction lang, transmit out, not transmit, do not receive transmission. So, ang makina ng Smartmatic is bidirectional. Na-access siya remotely. And I suppose it's the same thing with Miro. So, there's no sense na buksan mo yung internet mo nang nagsimula pala ng butukan. Kasi wala ka namang itatransmit Ang transmission mo at the end na ng polling when the polls close. So, it should only be at that time. It should only be at the time when the polls close na pwede mong i-connect yung makina mo to the internet. But not at the beginning of the voting. Sa pagsimula pa lang ng botohan, hindi dapat nakakonekta yung makina to the internet to prevent transmission
sinabi ni Attorney Harold na dahilan kaya pinapadiscuss siya ngayon ng COVID. Tama naman pala si
Oh,
Attorney Harold.
Attorney Harry, ang basis ni Attorney Harold is may instruction ng COMELEC. And that's what we have to verify. Kung totoo may instruction ng COMELEC, nabuksan mo yung internet, access ninyo, connection ninyo at the beginning of the polling. When in fact, wala ka pang itatransmit. Maliban na lang kung intention ng COMELEC is buksan nyo para ma-access namin at ma-doktor namin. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, ang daya nasa makina. Sa makina talaga yan kasi magpiprint siya ng election return and then itatransmit niya, dapat magtugma yung lahat. Magtutugma lang yung apat. Yung election return at tatlong transmission kung dinoktor mo yung source. Doon ka sa source. Ang source ay ang makina.
Oh, wait lang,
Okay,
kasi po
tawagin naman natin.
Okay, yun po ang explanation na reaction ni Attorney Glenn Chong po regarding ang connection para sa internet. And of course, para sa akin po, para hindi, whoever plans to cheat in the election, para sa akin po, what we should do, mga voters po, no? For me, personally, this is how I look at it. So that they won't be successful in their plan to cheat during the election, I think ang mga voters, ang mga Filipinos po, let's be solid. Vote to your candidate and dapat marami siyang boto po. Kung maraming ang boto, ibig sabihin po, mahirap sila mag-cheat or change ang result ng election po. Kung, let's say for example, if you are going to go straight vote para sa mga kandidato ni former President Digong, no? Ang PDP Laban, millions of votes na yan po, nandyan po, no? Solid ang boto para sa mga kandidato ni, sabihin natin, under the flagship of Digong, then mahirapan talaga sila po, no? Pero kung alang-alang po, no, split ang mga boto po, then that's where they can put the, you know, mayroon possibility na some group will dagdag ang boto sa ibang kandidato, no? Sa kontraryo nila po, no? Sa opponent nila. But kung solid po, then definitely mahirapan sila po to change the result of the election. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is, depende na sa inyo po. Depende na sa inyo who will be your candidates or to whom you're going to give your support sa itong dalawang partido po. Ang team ni Bongbong Marcos Jr., ang Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas, and itong LDP Laban, ang grupo ni Digong or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. And of course, mayroon din tayo mga independent candidates po, no? Now, you have 12 complete candidates coming from the Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas. Mayroon tayong, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 9 candidates, no? Sa grupo ni Digong. And of course, you can add other candidates, independent candidates or your choice to complete ang team ni Digong to make it 12 senatorial candidates. Now, if you're going to go for mass voting na po, no? Straight na yan po, straight voting, then siguro mahirapan talaga po to cheat ang resulta ng election. But anyway, let's move on. Finally, siguro po, let me share you another video po regarding itong election pa rin dyan sa Pilipinas. And this time around, let's listen to the statement of COMELEC Chairman George Garcia regarding itong BARM election at saka mga election-related crimes, no? Violence. Let's listen to COMELEC Chairman George Garcia on the issue. Nandito po. Let's listen. Hold on, George Garcia. Nandito po. Let's listen to this and Let's see.
Nakapag-submit ng kanilang
Hold on. Okay, nandito po si Comelec Chairman George Garcia.
Because Bangsamoro is a special region, but because na-postpone, na-reset kasi ang eleksyon sa Bangsamoro, and therefore gusto naming malaman ano ang implikasyon, epekto ng pagkaka-reset ng Bangsamoro election from May 12 to October 13. At the same time, napunto rin ang inyong lingkod sa ating pong pamunuan ng PNP, yung sa palagay natin ay medyo tumataas na insidente ng karahasan dyan, na election-related violence na nakala po nila. Kaya lang, doon sa kanilang 29, mukhang hindi pa kasama yung nangyari dyan sa Abra noong isang araw at sa Lumba Kaunayan sa Lanao del Sur. And so sabi natin mukhang nararapat na ito kaagad ay i-amend, baguhin at i-update base sa mga recent na pangyayari. Wala pa doon sa diskusyon natin kanina, mukha na bang wala pa talaga na malalagay sa Comelec control area, maliban na lang kung pagdatingan yung mga reports galing doon sa mga lugar na hindi pa nagsasubmit kung meron silang i-recommenda na Comelec control area. Like for example, at ito ay hindi po ito or preempting yung action ng Comelec o ng PNP. Yung nangyaring pag-ambush sa Pilar Abra. Dati na po namin nilagay ang Pilar under Comelec control. Ibig sabihin may kasaysayan na po siya ng karahasan dati kung kaya pumasok sa picture ng Comelec at nalagay sa Comelec control, lalo na noong panahon ng barangay at SK elections. At sana nga yung mga recent na pangyayari dyan ay hindi maging dahilan upang muli ang Comelec ay mag-intervene at ilagay sa ang isang area under Comelec control. Sabi ng PNP sapagkat may mga ilang areas pa na Regional Joint Security Command Center ang hindi pa nakakapag-submit ng kanilang pinaka-updated na report. For example, we're expecting a 300-page report from the Bangsamoro kung ano talaga ang tunay na kalagayan doon sa Bangsamoro. Kasi yan dadaan kasi yan sa proseso ng pag-approve mula sa municipal, provincial, hanggang sa regional, pinagsasama-sama at pagkatapos tsaka ipo-forward dyan sa National Joint Security Command Center natin. So yan lahat ng yan hinihintay sapagkat kung hindi ako nagkakamali, merong mga 6 pa na rehiyon ang hindi nakakapag-submit. Kung kaya kanina, ipinag-utos na kaagad ni General Nartates ang immediate na pagsasubmit ito upang magkaroon ng tunay na assessment ng kalagayan ng ating bansa patungo sa darating na halalan.
Alright, yun po si Comelec Chairman George Garcia po regarding ang election dyan sa BARM and at the same time mga crime-related or political-related violations po or crimes dyan sa Pilipinas po. And of course, pahabol lang before I will end this program for today, March 4 na tayo po. Yesterday, if you remember, I touched on the issue dyan po sa Russia and Ukraine. Ang unfortunate incident, ang heated discussion or exchange of words between the President of Ukraine and yon po ang sabihin natin si President US President Trump. So ito po ang latest natin po tungkol dyan sa problema sa Ukraine, Putin, sa Russia and Ukraine and mga latest updates ni Trump tungkol sa issue po. And let me share this to you. Hold on nandito. Let's listen to this report. Hold on. Okay?
President Trump just took another shot at Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And just moments ago, the commander-in-chief posted the following on social media. Quote, "This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing, and Europe, in the meeting they had with Zelensky, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of a show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking?" Now, the president was responding to Zelensky's comments that the end of the war between Ukraine and Russia is still, quote, very, very far away. 2 verys there. He also wrote, America will not put up with this much longer. CNN is covering this from all angles. Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Matthew Chance is in Moscow, but we are going to start at the White House with Jeff Zeleny. Jeff, can you explain a little bit more about this escalation that is on top of course, all of the escalations that we've seen starting with Friday?
Dana, it's the latest sign that temperatures have not cooled at all since Friday afternoon. During your show, when that meeting went entirely off the rails in the Oval Office with the biggest diplomatic breakdown that anyone certainly has seen in the television era. And the president posting just a short time ago, America will not put up with this for much longer. That is a bit of an ultimatum, signaling the fact that it raises a lot of questions. One question is, will the U.S. Withdraw its military assistance? Officials say that and everything else is on the table. The president actually was asked that by reporters as we saw him leave the White House on Friday night. He says, I will not answer that, but made clear it was on the table. So now, as we begin a new week here, after a weekend of European leaders rallying around Volodymyr Zelensky, the White House is not backing down at all. They are still ramping up their criticism of his conduct, of his behavior, and the president here was reacting to really the events of the weekend, as well as what he believes is Zelensky's insistence that he does not want this war to end. That, of course, is not the full picture. The full picture is how it would end, how peace talks would begin. A security agreement has still not been something that this White House is willing to discuss. So never mind the fact that Friday began as the idea of opening the door to signing a deal with Ukraine. That is not even being discussed now. It's about a continuing U.S. involvement in protecting Ukraine. And Dana, this was this deal was intended to be one of the centerpieces of the president's joint address to a joint session of Congress tomorrow evening. That, of course, is out the window. But clearly, he's keeping up this pressure and criticism, trying to put all the blame on Zelensky and the Ukraine side, as opposed to sort of answering any of the criticism that was at the U.S. Side, at least partially to blame for this. The White House is giving no inch on that, Dana.
Okay, that's it. Yan ang latest developments when it comes to the issue between Russia and Ukraine, and of course the intervention of United States of America and the European leaders, no? And yes, because I mentioned this thing, or I played this footage because of yesterday. It's a follow-up story po, no? Yesterday I played, yun ang topic natin po yesterday, between ang conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So, with this, siguro po hanggang dito na lang ang programa natin po for today, Tuesday, March 4. And sana, I hope that masking paano, I manage to give you the latest updates regarding ang mga issues, political issues in the Philippines. And of course, updates regarding sa conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So with this, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines. God bless us all, and see you tomorrow. Bye.